Worship is not a performance before God in hopes of earning acceptance. It is the response of a heart that has already been accepted. The Father was never seeking rituals alone. He desired people awakened to his finished work, resting in his love, and living in unbroken fellowship with him. Under the Old Covenant system, worship was centered around temples, sacrifices, priests, ceremonies, and repeated reminders of sin. The worshiper could never fully enter rest because the work was never complete. Every offering pointed to something greater that was coming. But when Christ offered himself once for all, everything changed. The veil was torn, access was opened, the distance ended. Worship is no longer about approaching God through earthly systems. It is living in the reality that we have already been brought near. John 4:23-24 says, open quote, "The true worshipers shall worship the Father in spirit and in truth, for the Father seeketh such to worship him. God is a spirit, and they that worship him must worship him in spirit and in truth." Close quote. Jesus spoke these words while the old covenant age was still standing, yet he pointed forward to a coming reality. Worship would no longer revolve around sacred mountains or physical locations. It would no longer be confined to Jerusalem, ceremonies, anthrap, or outward observances. A new covenant order was arriving, where worship would flow from union with God himself. To worship in spirit is to worship from the new creation life birthed by God. To worship in truth is to worship through the reality revealed in Christ. This means worship is more than songs, more than gatherings, more than traditions. Worship is a life awakened to grace. Every moment lived in confidence before God is worship. Every act flowing from love is worship. Every heart resting in the finished work is worship. Romans 12 verse 1 declares, open quote, "Present your bodies a living sacrifice, holy, acceptable unto God, which is your reasonable service." Close quote. The believer is not called to repeatedly offer sacrifices for sin. Christ accomplished that completely. Instead, our lives become the expression of thanksgiving for what has already been accomplished. Worship is the overflow of understanding. You are forgiven. You are reconciled. You are complete in him. You are not striving for nearness because you already have it. Many people still approach God with an old covenant mindset. They believe worship is a way to persuade God to move, bless, forgive, or accept them. But the cross revealed that God moved toward humanity first. Worship is not in favor. It is the celebration of favor already given. Hebrews declares that believers now enter boldly into the holiest place. Not fearfully, not cautiously, boldly. Why? Because the work is finished. The old order that kept humanity at a distance has passed away. The shadows gave way to substance. What was temporary yielded to what is eternal. Now the dwelling place of God is not found in buildings made by human hands. His people are his dwelling place. This transforms worship from a scheduled event into a continual reality. When you wake with gratitude, that is worship. When you rest in God's love instead of condemnation, that is worship. When you walk in peace instead of fear, that is worship. When you love others from the abundance you have received, that is worship. True worship flows from revelation. You cannot truly celebrate freedom while believing you are still bound. You cannot rest while believing the work is unfinished. You cannot rejoice fully while living under constant fear of judgment. But once the eyes of the heart are open to what Christ accomplished, worship becomes natural. Joy rises. Peace settles. Confidence grows. The believer is not waiting for reconciliation. The believer lives from reconciliation. And from that place, worship becomes a continual expression of thanksgiving, intimacy, rest, and joy before the Father who has drawn near forever through Christ.